everyone, this is Don, and I'm back with you, another paleo-friendly recipe that's quick and easy. Today we are going to be doing apple ginger pot roast, and you can use any kind of roast you like in this recipe. Today we're using a pork roast because that's what was on sale at Vons, and the recipe normally is for a 2-pound roast. I have a larger family, so we're going with a 4-pound roast today, so all of this recipes have been doubled, all the ingredients, excuse me. And my goal is always to try to make this simple and easy. So it's Monday morning, you got a hectic day, you can set these ingredients out the night before. So you start with your roast. This is a 4-pound pork roast, bought it at Vons. And you'll notice when you take it out of the package, there is a fat cap. When you put that in your pot roast, put the fat cap up. And the reason for that is as the roast cooks, that fat cap will melt and the fat will go through the roast, acting as a tenderizer, making it a lot more juicy and tender as you go to eat. That is also a special trick when you're smoking food that you're able to do that. So the next thing we're going to start with is 2 yellow onions, and these are pretty easy to do. You notice on all of these videos that I put out for you, everything is in live time, and the reason for that is so that you can see how to do this quickly at home. And just to save yourself time, because I know time is valuable for all of us. So basically I'm taking my onion, peeling the skin off, and I'm just going to slice the onion into slices. And this is a yellow onion. I always use the yellow onion. It seems to have a little bit more flavor than the white onion does, but I'm also cost conscious, and I will use whatever onion is on sale. In this case I'm using the yellow because that's what was on sale. You know, on the last video I did, I was showing you something called Kirkland's Organic Salt-Free Seasoning. And somebody had emailed me and said, where's Kirkland's? We can't find Kirkland's anywhere. Kirkland's is just the brand name of products sold at Costco. Costco is a large box store for us here in California, and they always have things at great prices. I know they have them all over. They have them in Maui too. If you're going to Maui on a budget, one of the great things to do is stop right from the airport, and you can go get yourself a non-paleo friendly hot dog, meal, and drink for the same price that you can get it here on the mainland. So we're slicing up our second onion right here, and you just slice that right up. There we go. And put that on top of our roast. And you can break the rings up as you're sticking it in. The next thing we want to do is apples. I pulled these apples off my Granny Smith tree outside, and it's a little early right now, end of August, September, to be pulling Granny Smiths, but this is the only apple I had left, and you can use any type of apple you want. What's important is as you slice the apples to put in, if you have one of those fancy core things, you can core it. Otherwise, you can just cut the core out like that and slice your apple up and just start dumping your apple right in. And that's how I try to do it here. And it makes it rather easy. And remember, we're doubling the recipe. This is a 4-pound roast that we're using today. And because of that, I am using 4 apples. And we're just putting those in. A lot of people commented on the one-pan chicken that they were really pleased with how easy it was and how flavorful it was, and I do agree. That was a terrific dish. It is really fast and simple and easy to prepare. And this is too, if you look at the video time when we're all done with this, it's not going to take more than 5 minutes of prep time. And you're just going to stick it in your crock pot, and you're going to let your crock pot do all your work while you are away for the day. And you can do this in the morning on Sunday if you have church or something, or if you're on your way to soccer practice or baseball, or you have your CrossFit workouts. This is something healthy and easy to do. Curious if all of you are getting ready for the Paleo Challenge that's coming up at a lot of CrossFit gyms. This recipe that I'm doing here today is paleo friendly, and I'm going to show you some of the alternatives that you can do if you're not quite fully into the paleo thing. So now that we've got our ingredients, we've got our onions, we've also got our apples in here. We did 4 apples, we did 2 onions, and we have a 4-pound pot roast. The next thing we're going to go with is broth. This is, I saw the organic broth at Vons, and the organic broth, if you kind of looked at it, had starches and things like that in it. So we're using this beef stock. You can use chicken, beef, or water, and we'll do, if you were doing a 2 pound, you would use 2/3 cup of broth, or since we're doing 4 pounds, we'll double that. So there we go. And we put that in. Now if you want, you can put water in. This is gluten-free for everybody, and it should help you out that way. Also, the next ingredient, this calls for a tablespoon of honey. Now, if you're doing the Lurong challenge, honey is considered fair game on there, and it's in the moderation. So we are going to use the honey. It is 2 tablespoons. You can use your handy little thing here, and I am just going to squirt it in. There's 1. And there's 2 tablespoons of honey included into our recipe. Next thing is ground ginger. You want to put in 4 tablespoons of ground ginger. Ginger comes in a root like this, and if you can't find it on sale at your local grocery store, you know, get it in the containers. Schilling sells it. Also, Costco has a large container of ground ginger, and that's just as acceptable as this is. And you know, the yield's probably a little bit better and a little easier to do. If you're really into thyme, wouldn't do this. I just did this to show you what the ground ginger looks like, and that it really isn't that bad. You know, you can impress your friends how great of a cook you are that you're actually using a ground ginger root. You know, ginger is a root. It does grow in the ground, and we just put that there and spread it across. And now we have our ginger in. Next thing we want to do is, I use sea salt for all my recipes. This calls for 1 teaspoon, and since we're doing 2 pounds, we are going to use 2 teaspoons of salt. So there's 1, and there's 2. And the next, it also calls for a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. So we are going to double that recipe to make it 2. And don't worry, I'll recap the recipe here at the end. There we go. At the end, so everybody has it. Also calls for paprika, a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika if you're doing the 2 pounds, so it would be 1 teaspoon if you're doing the 4 pounds. There we go. We just put that right across. And then another great recipe that it calls for is cinnamon. And we have cinnamon right here, and it calls for 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, so we are going to use 2. So there's 1. And there is 2. So the final thing is, it calls for garlic. 2 cloves of garlic. Got this handy thing at the LA County Fair. You just stick your garlic clove in there, roll it like that, and the garlic comes out the other end, nicely peeled for your convenience. And then all you have to do here is you can slice the garlic like that, and the recipe calls for it to be just lightly sliced. And you can put that right across, and we'll do our second garlic clove. Garlic goes in. It's a little rubber tube. You stick it in the middle, you just turn it, and friction causes it to be nice and peeled. Saw this on Alton Brown, and unfortunately it's not a multitasker, as he would call it, that you can use for more than one thing, but it is so stinking handy, it's well worth being a unitasker. So there we go. Basically what we have is, if this is going for a single family, you have a 2 pound roast, 1 sliced onion, 2 apples cored. You can use any type of apple you like, a red, a green, whatever flavor works best for you. 2/3 cup of broth, whether it be beef, chicken, or water. And if you're really in the Paleo challenge, make sure you're looking at the ingredients, that there's no starches or sugars or anything like that. Organic, may be organic, but it may have some things that violate it. You want 1 tablespoon of honey and 2 tablespoons of ginger, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and 2 garlic cloves. Put it in the pot, put the lid on, and set it on cook time medium, and it should be ready in 8 to 10 hours. Now if you're in a hurry and you don't have as much time, you can cook it on high, and it should be ready in 6 to 8 hours. That's it. This is apple ginger chicken, or excuse me, apple ginger roast, and we'll Hey everyone, I'm back. This is Don again, and it's been 6 hours now, and our pork roast has been in here in the crock pot for that amount of time. And I put on 6 to 8 hours, which was high because it's Sunday and we're going to have a great meal. So we're going to check it right now. Just lift the lid. Be careful of the steam when you take your lid off. And you can do the fork test. Just stick it in and lightly check, and it looks great. The fat cap has dissolved and all of those juices have gone down. So make sure you have a serving dish of some sort handy. And because this roast is fully cooked, there's a good chance it's going to fall apart as we start to pull it out. So you just reach in like this, and you would grab it and lift it right into your dish like that, and there it is. Now, if you have handy a spoon that has holes in it, now you're able to go and pull out the rest of the goodness, which is the onions and the apples that have reduced down. And this is really good. So how you'll serve it basically is you'll have your plate and lightly pull this apart and kind of like pulled pork, and you can serve it with some of the onions and the apples along with a green vegetable or a salad, and there you have a meal. Very limited effort to be able to do this. The recipe is on the page. And someone asked me, hey, what are you looking at every time you look at your pot rack? What I'm looking at is I hide the recipe back here. And normally they say if you're making something, you shouldn't have the recipe if you're making it with love. Well, I do it because there's a lot of people that say, well, I need to know exactly what it is that we're putting in. And otherwise, I would just pull the ingredients out and play it by ear as I put things in. Because if you're not really baking, you don't have to be dead on precise with this type of stuff. So it's a great meal. I'm going to try a little piece here. It's delicious. Well, I hope this meal, apple ginger chicken comes out well for, or roast comes out well for you. Paleo, I have chicken on the mind, comes out well for you and your family. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. If you watch this entire video, it's probably about 12 minutes. And if you edit out all my comments and everything like that and just go straight to prep time, it works out to be about 5 to 6 minutes of prep. Throw it in your crock pot, and in 6 to 8 hours if you cook it on high, or 8 to 10 hours if you cook it on medium, you'll have a wonderful dinner when you come home. Hope you enjoy. Look forward to our next time together with our next Paleo meal. Have a good weekend.